So let's take you through the grid for heat number 2 for DD2, race 9 of the meeting. Ville will line up alongside Mark Kimber on the front row. Peter Bezel and Martin van Leeuwen from the Netherlands round out row number 2, with the number 412 having won the opening heat of the day. Leonardo Baccaglini will start on the inside of row number 3 alongside Austria's Philip Moitzi. Matthias Jette Jacobsen and Maxime Dirks, that rounds out row number 4 with Ragnar Virus and Stan Pex completing the top 10. Patrick Snolls, Locke Mellis and Jakob Bezel completing the top 12 ahead of Laurent Seyfried and Tino Egeskov from Germany and Denmark respectively. Charlie Anderson lining up alongside Edward Matthews on row 8 with Hannes Wadder, Lucas Thompson, Niklas Krens and Florian Breitenbach rounding out the top 20. Then it's Philip Jensen, Vinstiak, Karl Borgard, Lucas Bernal, Zendruer, Manuel Tenchert, Ilias Kaliakmanis, Andreas Zinkevicius, Matis Malinowskis, Hugo Schwarzer, Alessandro Glauser, Benjamin Unterberger and Rasmus Vendelbo. That's your 33-strong grid. So current air temperature 12 degrees Celsius. There is your race, or your pole sitter, and the driver who's going to line up alongside who is the current championship leader. So Ville and Kimber will be on the front row. They will control the pace. As the drivers now starting to slow. And with the temperature as low as it is, the more sort of surface temperature they can get into the tyres, the more it will help, especially on the start. And that is going to be a tough one. So patches of dry tarmac into the start phase, and that's on the. It could benefit the outside row, but also there are some slightly moist patches or damp patches through the tram lines on where pole position sits. And for those watching at home, when you see the drivers go into the tram lines, pole position will be on your left-hand side. 10 minutes on the timer, red lights on the gantry. The DD2 field crawls its way into the tram lines. Revs rise, lights are out, we're underway. Let's see if Kimber gets a good start alongside Ville as it's all for themselves going through into turns 1, 2 and 3, and it's 3, 4 abreast. There was a little bit of a touch going into turn number 4, but they've all managed to get through, but no, they haven't. Someone's stuck in the middle, hands up, and there's a little bit of an accident just behind. And all of them, well, I'm just looking to see if anyone's front Nassau panel is adrift. No one has got an adrift Nassau panel. And that includes the driver at the back end of the field, that's Benjamin Unterberger. Had nowhere to go. I'm wondering if there are any other drivers that might have been compromised. I think looking to see, I see a Mach 1 chassis. And that, whoa, hang on a minute, what on earth was that? That was Lucas Thompson getting all sideways and crossed up coming out of turn number 10. He lost the back end, went 2 wheels onto the grass and still kept the throttle pin, well held. But Kimber has got the race lead. Philip Moitzi now up into second. With Dirks, Baccaglini, Pex now rounding out the top 5. And Virus is definitely getting his elbows out a little bit. He's battling away with Ville as the whole field makes its way through turn 4. But Kimber starting to break away. He had a gap of just over 0.8 of a second after the opening lap over Philip Moitzi. So Kimber started from P2, Moitzi from the outside of the third row. Great start from the Austrian. As now it's a Kart Republic. 3, 4, 5 at the moment because Baccaglini has got past the Dix. Now Stan Pex throws it up the inside. So does Ville gives Pex a little bit of a touch from behind. And Dix, his steering wheel input is all over the shop at the minute. Ragnar Virus looking to get up the inside of the 499 through the final corner. Now this is really what we wanted to see, some flat-out full throttle racing. The DD2s are giving it to us right now. And everyone's just going for it. Throw caution to the wind, and the lap times are respective of it. Niklas Krens, who's now up into 13th position. Fastest lap of the race, 51.934. And with these slick tyres with wet parts of the circuit, it can cause a little bit of a problem if you get onto the damp stuff on slick tyres. As Laurent Seyfried seems to be battling away with Ragnar Virus. He's got Niklas Krens. They seem to be working together a little bit here, and they both get past the Estonian. And that was through the exit of turn number 11. as Matis Malinowski is trying to throw his hand into the ring. And he's got, I think possibly, well, Hugo Schwarz is already out of the race on lap number 1, so must have been a casualty of that multi-cart incident, and he was the one that got turned around and pointing the wrong way. As Lucas Thompson battling away with Carl Borgard and Andreas Sinkevicius for what will be effectively 28th position. But this battle behind Leonardo Baccaglini has really started to kick off, because Stan Pex has now got back past Vilivilainen. Baccaglini has bolted, and now he's chasing after the 2 in front. Now Leonardo Baccaglini, the first time he clapped eyes on the Italian was at the second round of the B&L karting series, just 1 week before our penultimate round, and he literally dominated the weekend. Pex gets past. Oh, that was very, very brazen indeed by Jakob Bezel as he got past Matthias Jette Jakobsen, amongst others. It's just absolutely, they're hurtling their way at over probably the best part of 100 kilometres an hour going through that turn 3 sweeper on slick tyres. With 6 1/4 minutes to go, Seifried looking up the inside of Didix, going through turn 5, hard on the brakes. Keynes goes through as well. Virus waiting for his opportunity to strike, and the Estonian has to wait. So Kimber leading, Moitzi second, Baccaglini third, Pex in fourth, fifth it's Viliainen, sixth it's Jakob Bezel, with Matthias Jette Jakobsen, Laurent Seifried, Niklas Krenz, Maxime Drix now might be outside of the top 10. The Belgian is slipping down the order, and he is in 11th. And he's being chased down by the likes of Patrick Snolslock-Mellis, Charlie Anderson, Martin van Looyen from the Netherlands, up into now P14 with Hannes Border in front of Canada's Lucas Pernot, who rounds out the top 16 as Vilivilainen through turn 6 gets back through on Stan Pex for 4th position. So we're about 50% through the timer counting down from 10 minutes to 0. Stan Pex just waiting for his opportunity. A very seasoned karter in his own right. Not just the team boss, but also likes to get behind the wheel, like he did last week at Le Mans. Placing 7th in the CIK FIA KZ World Championships. Now closing in on them. Well, Jakob Bezel has picked up the pace. Ragnar Virus has set the fastest lap. 50.767 is now there goes Bezel up the inside of Pex through turn 6. Gets through, closes the door quickly before the apex of turn number 7. Now Pex will start trying to keep pace with him. Stan Pex's best lap so far, 51.1. Bezel's lap time last time around was a 50.768, so nearly 4 tenths quicker. But Pex has a hell of a lot of experience. But in the meantime, behind them, well, Niklas Krenz is ahead of Laurent Seifried. And now closing in to Matthias Jette Jakobsen from Denmark. Niklas Krenz, if anyone might remember, back in 2019, won the Euro Trophy Open back at Karting Genk. It's good to see him back in as a racer. 3.5 minutes to go. Mark Kimber still holding a comfortable lead, but we're now into the 50s. The crossover point has well and truly been blown wide open, because Martin van Looyen from the Netherlands, currently sitting in 12th position, has put in the fastest lap of the race, 50.660. Expect those lap times to drop even further over the next 3 minutes plus an additional lap. Kimber still has the second lead over Moitzi, Baccaglini, Viliainen, Bezel, Pex, Jette Jakobsen, Krenz, Seifried, Virus. That's the top 10, covered by just under 7 seconds. That's more like it. That's what we want to see. Ed Matthews, I think, has just got past. That was Hannes Border from Germany, and that would have been for 17th position. There's more moves being attempted. I think Andreas Sinkevicius trying to get through, possibly on Lucas Thompson through turn 4. And has got past, as has, I think, also Alessandro Glauser is ahead. And there is a train. It's the Jere Jacobsen train, because behind him he's got 5 carts. Krijn, Seyfried, Veres, Lokmelis. And Van Leeuwen is in there. And Van Leeuwen's going to get an almighty slipstream down the start-finish straight into turns 1 and 2. Just over 2 minutes to go. Seyfried pulls out up the inside. Slingshots past Krijn through turn 3. There goes Lokmelis. And then Veres gets past as well, not just by 1 driver, but 2. So it's 2 for the price of 1. 2 overtakes, 2 positions lost on 1 single solitary corner for Ragnar Veres on that particular occasion. 1 minute and 3/4 still to go. Kimber consistently putting in the hot laps. Viljinen now puts in the fastest lap of the race, 50.346. As we head into the last 90 seconds. So 32 of the 33 drivers still running. And Kimber further extends his lead by over 2/10, nearly 1.4 seconds to the betterment for the 471. Based out of Solihull these days. And personal best from Viljinen, who sets another fastest lap, 50.283. Jakob Bezel and Stan Pex also running in the 50.3s. And Stan Pex is not that far away from Jakob Bezel in the battle for what is P5. There they are. Well, that's Baccaglini actually catching Moitzi. So it's Sodi Kart versus Kart Republic. And Baccaglini sends it. Oh, and goes very wide and goes off the circuit. Oh, that's not exactly what I think Leonardo Baccaglini had in mind. And he's losing positions hand over fist. The Italian goes rally crossing. And, well, all of a sudden you make one big lunge like that. And he's just ended up behind. I think that was Martin van Leeuwen from the Netherlands. Yep, and there's dust flying off the back axle of Baccaglini's kart, and he's dropped from what could have been second to now 12th at the snap of her fingers. Sent it up the inside, was catching Moitzi, and everyone else behind has just profited. So, timer has run out. We're on to the penultimate lap of this race. There's your race leader, Mark Kimber from Strawberry Racing. The 471 coming into this with a championship lead over both the defending champion Peter Bezel and his brother Jakob. As Kimber now goes into turn 3 for the final time. Gap now just under 2.5 seconds over Austria's Philip Moitzi. Vili Viljinen a further 1.5 seconds behind in P3 with Jakob Bezel and Stan Pex rounding out the top 5 positions. Baccaglini, however, has made up a position despite that off-track excursion and rallycross expedition through turn number 12. Baccaglini now up into 11th as Kimber, calm, cool and composed. He's not only leading the Euro Trophy, he's also leading the B&L Karting Series in this class, which heads to Karting Genk in just 2 weeks' time at the home of champions. So Kimber out of the final corner. The Brit powers towards the line and takes heat 2 by a comfortable margin. Good work from Philip Moitzi to take second. Viljinen in third. Jakob Bezel in fourth, with Stan Pex rounding out the top 5. Matthias Jere Jacobsen taking 6th ahead of Niklas Krijn, who finishes in 7th, with Patrick Snolls, Lokmelis, Ragnar Veres and the Netherlands' Martin van Leeuwen taking 10th place in the 412 entry. So Kimber becomes our second different winner in 2 successive heats here in DD2. From 11th downwards, it was Leonardo Baccaglini from Italy, Laurent Seyfried, Charlie Anderson, Lucas Bernot and Rasmus Vendelbo. Again, another storming drive from the Dane from Dams Racing, up from 33rd to 15th, gaining 18 positions, finishing ahead of Edward Matthews, Florian Breitenbach. Maxim Dirix, unfortunately, finishing 18th in that race, ahead of Peter Bezel and Matthias Malinowskis, who complete the top 20. Manuel Tencher, Tino Egeskov, Hannes Border, Finn Stiak, Zenderua, Lucas Thompson, Andreas Sinkevicius, Karl Borgard, Philip Jepsen, Alessandro Glauser, Iles Kaliakmanis, Benjamin Unterberger, rounding out the 32 strong. And unfortunately, very early on in the race, we lost Hugo Schwarzer from Germany.